Now, one of the first things we do with a horse when we start preparing him for his schooling is we hobble our horses. Now, these are hobbles right here that I have made special for us, and they go around his front feet and legs. And the purpose for hobbling is many reasons. One is, in the old days they used to hobble their horses at night so the horses could graze while they slept, and they didn't have to tie their horses. And along the trail you can hobble your horse and he can graze while you're taking a break or you're eating your lunch or whatever. But what we have found, when you hobble a horse, it really helps him learn how to give to pressure and how to handle and manage his fear. And it's like the very first preliminary step for him learning to manage his thought process as it becomes, he feels confined, he might feel threatened, and I don't want him to respond to that fear in an anxious way. I want him to give to that pressure. Okay? So if I hobble him and he feels that confinement and he gives to that, he gives him self-release, and that teaches him patience to stand. I could tell you 100 stories of where that's paid off for us. You get out and your horse acts up, he spooks or something happens and you have to take a hold of him, he stops. You get in the trailer, you're trying to get your horse off a trailer and he gets pinched sideways. Rather than exploding, he stops. I've had horses kicked through the stall, I've had him get caught in the fence, I've had him get caught in a trailer, I've had him get caught every way you can think of. Now, not all the time, but most of the time, we've got a good outcome to that. The horse will stop and release himself to that pressure. And if he doesn't, sometimes I'll just rip his leg off trying to get out. And one time I had a horse back here that a briar bush got caught in her tail, and dragging that briar bush behind. And I held my horse and he stopped, and I was sure glad. Another time I got in a bee's nest, bees all over the place. That horse stood there. My wife was riding a horse, I remember, and I don't know how many, 20, 30 bee stings on that horse we counted. But that horse stood there for her, because that horse managed its fear. And that's, we get along good with our horses because we condition their mind before their body. Well, this is part of the process. So hobbling is, I remember years ago the old timers saying, if a horse won't stand still, he won't do you much good. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. He got to stand still. He can't be pawing and carrying on. When I tie him up, if he starts pawing, I'm going to put the hobbles on him. But what I don't want to do is when I put the hobbles on him, I don't want him to go berserk. Okay? I want him to manage that pressure and stand there like a gentleman, like he's supposed to, like my work partner waiting for me to do something else. Okay? Now, don't go home and just slap a pair of hobbles on your horse. I used to do it that way, or I'd put the hobbles on and I let him kind of struggle around a little bit, and sometimes the horses don't respond very positively to them. So I've discovered over the last couple of years a way to do this that I'm going to show you how to prepare him to be hobbled. Is, you've got to get your horse conditioned to your rope where he's safe, he's comfortable with your rope, he's comfortable with you being around his feet. So you take your rope, go up and down his legs like this, okay? And you're going to take him and run that up his legs, okay? We're going to see how Petey gives already to that pressure, all right? Well, I'm going to do that to both legs, and then I'm going to come around with my horseman rope like this, okay? And I'm going to give him pressure and then release. And whenever he gives to me, I give him release, just like this. And I should be able to lead this horse to your house and back by his foot, just like that, okay? See how I can take Petey And I can just lead him by his foot. Okay. And he gives to that. Now, if he won't do that, don't put the hobbles on. Okay. Because what he's going to do is he's going to thrash around and he's going to fight those hobbles. Okay. So once we've established that, I'm going to take my hobbles and I'm going to lean down here, come in from the back. Do it on this side last. And then stand back if it's a fresh horse. Because he'll hit those hobbles and he might resist them a little bit. But you know, the rule is once they're on, you can't take them off till we're done. If you let him win the battle, and if he flops on the ground or thrushes around and you take him off, well, you've just told him it's okay to do that, and he's won the battle. So, you know, I call it prayer. You know, sometimes it's just got to stand here with these hobbles and pray a little bit. Think about what's going on. You know, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll unhook my halter like this, and maybe I'll go to the house and eat my lunch and come back. Okay? But what I want you to see is how when he resisted those hobbles, he didn't act afraid and he didn't act threatened or anything. He's just going to stand here. And what's nice about this, if you get a horse that'll hobble like this, he can graze. See, when you're out in the field or you're out on the trail, you can't tie your horse up to graze. So he's got to eat too today. So we packed our lunch and we're out there eating our lunch. Well, I'm going to hobble him up and I'm going to let him eat his lunch. He's going to graze out there beside the trail somewhere. Okay? The U.S. Cavalry Manual says for every hour of march, your horse should be able to graze 10 minutes. So now when we take the hobbles off, we're going to reach on the far side. We're going to come like this. We're going to come like this. Hook our halter back up. And we're in business. Now, what I want to show you is how these hobbles are put together. We used to have hobbles that had buckles on them, and I did not like those things. So I had a guy make these for me where you just slip these hobbles in like this, and they fit like that, and they're made of leather, and they won't cut their legs. Very humane. This distance between here and here is important. If they're too close, the horse cannot stand comfortably hobbled. I want him to stand square hobbled. Okay? So I have these custom made. They're ones that work very well, and I promise you he's not going to come out of them. I mean, they'll stay on. So be real careful on your hobbles that when you do get some, make sure they're ones like this they can't come out of, because some of them you buy, they'll slip out of them, and once they've slipped out of them, then you got a problem. Then you got to convince him he can't get out of them. And once he thinks he can get out of them, there's no end to that. He's just going to keep trying them and trying them. So these work real good. I like them. And we hang these on our saddle on the back ring and carry them with us about everywhere we go. And it's a very valuable tool if you know how to use it. Thank you.